Alright. Today's Thoughts on a Jungle Run is labeled what to do when your wife is nagging at you. And I can make a promise to you. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the neurology behind your wife nagging at you. How to satisfy that neurological response. Buen dia, buen dia. And dare I say it, actually feel good about your wife nagging at you. And for those wives, you will feel good, empowered, dare I say it, to be more enthusiastic naggers. Alright, so let's dive into it. Get past this. Hey, guys. Guard dogs at the first entrance of our property, little security station. And so we got back to the DR last Sunday. So I've been here a little over a week. Chelsea has been a little bit more on the negative side of things, and a little more naggy. And so last night, she's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being negative, but there seems to be more problems than there are solutions. And this is in the midst of me rambling on about future plans for our building a lazy river, future plans for my legal battles with the Washington State Department of Health, and what I'm going to do next with that. After the Superior Court of Washington State just said it is completely okay for the state to make decisions that negatively impact your health and your kids' development. And it's okay for the federal government or state government to access your records without without you knowing, and without your doctor notifying you. So the Superior Court of Washington State just said that the government can supersede HIPAA, and they are A-okay with that. So in case you're wondering if your personal protected health records are protected, personal and private, the answer is no. And in the future, if, I don't know, a government entity decides that they want to investigate you and then look at your records and slap a diagnosis on you, they have the full legal right to do that. So, little FYI, I'm sure they would never do anything like that. Such a good track record of respecting human rights governments do. So, but that, again, see how I go into complaining about my things. She's like, we're having issues with our water system. When we showed up here, the power was out, the battery banks were not functioning, the water was not functioning, we had no drinking water, no food, and she felt negative about all these things. And she's like, there's just more problems than there are solutions. And so then, for me, I recognize something that is a new thing that has been a bit. So actually for a number of years now, Chelsea has not nagged at me at all. And you might say, well, must be nice. Well, it is nice in two situations. Because neurologically, let's break down what your wife nagging at you means. So neurologically, when I say neurologically, I mean our nervous system, our basic hardwired programming that does not change based on genetics. It does not change based on identity. It does not change based on belief systems. What our neuroanatomy is hardwired with. Women are geared to seek protection, and men are wired to be the protectors. Okay, so again, if you want to argue that, go ahead, argue with yourself. You're dumb and you're wrong, because our species has existed for 300,000 years before politics and medicine made a business of manipulating people's emotions in order to make money off of them via the public trust. So this basic, and if you can cut through all that noise that is now a conversation piece, because our nervous systems are so miswired to the point where we for the first time in a century, we're not living as long as our parents' generation, then we can kind of get to the root of the understanding. Because female's nervous system, there is a preferred default response. You've probably heard of the fight or flight response and the freeze response, which is more common now, and then the fawn response. Women process stress better than men do, and one of the ways they do it is the default stress response of the fawn response. And this is kind of an interesting observation. We can tie it back into biblical principles. One of the scriptures says that no man can tame the tongue, because our fight response then lashes out via words. But women seem to have a unique gift, don't they? They can work through issues. They can be nice and fake and polite and kind to the people that they absolutely hate and get along. And men, we lack that basic restraint. That's probably why we die younger and end up causing wars. So women's default response is going to be the fawn response. And this is the root cause and explanation for a lot of abuse issues, a lot of rape issues, prostitution, all the things. Because their survival mechanism is to fawn the person that is in control of them. And when a person leaves an abusive situation, like, I don't even know why I did that, why I put up with it so long. It's because it's your default. It's hardwired in your neuroanatomy to be exploited and used. So, or nurtured, which we're going to talk about that as a daring alternative to exploiting the fawn response. So, in a fawn response, the default is to appease the person who is the protector. So, in a situation where, for example, man and woman, man is very rich and powerful, woman is happy being married to a rich, powerful person, she will fawn that person in order to then continue in her position. And there is a tipping point that we're seeing now where women are starting to default into a fight response. And when the women go fight response, it goes real bad, real fast. And in essence, what the nagging wife is a fight response. Because they are feeling A, not protected, B, not provided for, or C, feeling like they're acting like a parent. So they nag. So how to respond with this? Well, there's really a two-step process. And that is, number one, to apologize. Number two, do the thing she wants you to do. And I can almost hear it, and I had a good friend who I found out was not such a good guy. And he was just like, she's never happy. Even after I do the thing, she's never happy. Again, repeat this two-step process. This isn't theory pie in the sky. I can say with absolute certainty that the reason why my life is as blessed as it is because my wife has nagged at me hard enough in the moments where it mattered. And so the evangelical Christian response to this whole conversation is, well, wife is supposed to be submissive to her husband. And my argument back is that we're supposed to, called to love our wives like Christ loved the church, which means to be beaten, to be shamed, and ultimately die for them. So, if they're demanding you to do something, Christ up, bitch. And that's where my friend went to seek his church counsel, and they said, no. What you do to your wife is between a man and a woman, and behind closed doors. It's okay that you hurt her, force things on her. I remember Jesus getting off the cross and chokescrewing people until they're unconscious. Maybe I just left that part out. Pretty sure he was like, Father, forgive them for what they've done. So now, as the other third part I said was, he would feel, I'm getting a solution now. Say you're sorry, and then do the freaking thing. Man up, as she wants you to do. And yes, as you elevate your status, and as you become more Christ-like, you will get bigger problems that you have to solve. Repeat this 2-step process. Because the alternative is the dorsal vagal response of the woman's stress response, which is to go back into fawning because she has accepted your role in her life as a child. And if you look at the difference between when a kid scrapes his knee and how the mom responds versus a kid scrapes his knee and how dad responds, dad says, brush it off. Come on, let's keep going. Mom's like, oh my gosh, let me kiss that boo-boo. So if your wife goes to a point where she is no longer nagging you, and
lap 6, 12:34,
and she is not abundantly happy, then you've entered into what I had been stuck in for multiple years now, which is she's fawning you because you are a delicate flower. You are no longer the protector, you are no longer the provider. You have fallen into the weak child classification within her brain. Yes. And I'm admitting that that is where I have been for years now. Because I did not know how to balance my nervous system. And my stress response had gotten so out of control that my blood pressure was at 140, 160 over 120. My blood vessels were rupturing in my eyeballs and I was going blind. And I was on a hair trigger pin, always, of just melting down, full on anxiety, panic attacks. So my wife had defaulted to a fawn response, like a baby, delicately nurturing my soul. So now, if you are a female and you're like, I want to nag my husband, he is driving me nuts. Nag advice, but women will. Go to drugfreehappykids.org and then read my 300 and something page audio ebook and listen to the audiobook of all the things that you can do within the environment in order to start to balance out that stress response. The world is hard. Life is hard. It's not getting better. At the point in the beginning of this message, I talked about how ultimately, in essence, our healthcare systems are not even failing us, but now they're openly saying, yes, we do what we want, and we want you to know that you cannot say no. I mean, that's a level of evil that I cannot even quantify. I mean, before it was like, nah, we're doing this for your own good. But they're now saying, we're going to do what we want because you can't say no to us. If you want to drug your kids, we're going to do it. If we want to inject things in your kids, we're going to do it. We want to coerce your kids into gender identification that can't go back, we're going to do it. Because we decide what's best for you and your kids. That's what they have formally said at a superior court level as of 1 month ago. Okay? So everything that you can do to modify your environment in order to rev down that stress response, to regain strength, to regain your power, I would start doing it right now, because things typically get worse before they get better. And if you felt like overall things have gotten worse, and now you're like, well, I don't want to be a naggy wife to my husband, I would say hold your husband to a higher standard. Because now for me, I am so happy that my wife is back to a place where she can nag me, because here's what we know with the research, is that when a nervous system of a man is in a suppressed, weakened state, he lowers everyone around him to that, females and children. When a man is in a higher strengthened neurological state, everyone around him gets stronger. Men to women. Women to women, you have a healthy, strong female, put a weaker one with them, the female raises up the nervous system of the weaker female. So this is so counterculture right now, because like every man person that's influencers like, you know, nothing worse than a nagging wife, just love and support your husband. I'm like, there's nothing better than a wife that holds you to a standard, because then when you meet that standard, they raise it up, and then over the years your life is different from everyone around you. So I, for one, am thankful to have a nagging wife. And if you're a nagging wife, good for you. It means your husband is strong enough, and you being around him puts you in that fight response where you fight for what you want. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, everything is right. Hold him to a standard. Nag away. Get my book, drugfreehappykids.org. Start developing an environment around that person, and just watch what happens. I think you might be a little bit amazed.